Welcome to the new mini show, Fusions. Today we are joined by Mustafa Azizi, CEO and co-founder of Zuum. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I am very excited about this. This is kind of continuing on our integrations with Sonar and some of the amazing TMSs out there. Before we get too far into it, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you started Zuum?
Yes. So I started my career, school. I studied supply chain economics at UC Berkeley. After which I was on a job board. I was used to work for the Afghan embassy, but then somehow I got a job at JB Hunt as a carrier sales operator for like the first 4 years. I know. When I first came in there, it was like a pretty hectic field because as brokers, you have to do pricing, billing, tracking, and everything like that. I had a natural tendency to be a really good multitasker. So I kind of rose to the top of the ranks in terms of like the top brokers in the company, and eventually got on a team that built a product called JB Hunt 360. I've probably priced over 1,000 lane files per year in my life. So I've seen every rate, every mode, every single thing that moves, anything, anywhere, anytime. I've probably priced it, including weird stuff like a truckload of hides or whatnot. There's so many nuances in pricing that it's really important to have the great tools to succeed. The other thing is there's a lot of, when the market tightens up, there's a lot of opportunity to win a lot of freight, and those who are really good at it and who could price well and quickly can win more freight. And that's the problem. So you'll have like 20% of your pricing managers that are really good, and then 80% that are mediocre. And for me, that kind of like hit me, and I said, how can you make more of that 80% with the 20%? And that's going to be through technology. So another thing that was kind of bothersome to me was that whenever we wanted to update the algorithm pricing with the corporate office, because the market swing, we'd tell the developers internally in our company or our pricing providers, and it would take them a couple of weeks to adjust that algorithm. But the market already swung next day, so it was like chasing a dragon or somewhere they call it, and it was just it just became really an inefficient and laborsome process, and it resulted in thousands of dollars per day lost per person or opportunities not captured. After that, I started working for a trucking company as a chief operating officer in Ontario with 50 trucks. I did that for about 3 years after my 7-year stint at JB Hunt. And then this was completely opposite because I was pricing for fleets on the opposite side with, they were set up with over 300 brokerages. So that level of insight to do it the other opposite way with 300 different digital, traditional, and operators, I had to teach all the employees on how to price freight, why we're losing money. I mean, literally, we had people in the parking lot crying because the owner's like, why are we losing this money right now for no reason? And that just like, all that culminated into me and my partner, Matt, founding Zuum. And we found Zuum and incubated it out of essentially a trucking company brokerage and became our own problem, and accidentally built a digital freight brokerage that's in the black, operating at 20 loads per operator per day right now, above $100 million run rate. But more importantly, that incubation, that becoming our own problem and making our own problem 4 times more efficient than the industry average through pricing and back office automation, helped find our software. And we launched our software a little bit over a year ago. And essentially what our software is a digital brokerage in a box. It has billing, pricing, tracking, customer portal. Anybody that's been on your show or any show, we've essentially built it all into one super hub. However, we don't want to compete. So we decided to share our technology with all the logistics companies out there and brand their portals to them overnight. And then also we decided to build a store in there, and companies like Sonar, even though we have a pricing stack, we knew that Sonar was a little bit better in terms of gathering the data. And we're like, hey, divide and conquer. Why don't we bring Sonar into our app store? And by having our app store, we've had everybody essentially that might be an indirect competitor become directly embedded. And that's really valuable because you could go to a large enterprise because that's our focus, right? We focus on enterprise. You could go and say, "Hey, I can do everything for you," but they're going to come back and say, "Well, I still like trucker tools, or I still want to integrate with Neutral or DAT or Sonar." And everybody's in our store, and we don't have enemies. So essentially, like you have an iPhone. We built everything for you in your iPhone. We built a store so you can download, like, for example, we have something called Dynamic Smart Rate and Universal Touch. That would be our version of Apple Maps within our phone. When we engaged with Sonar, we decided to, instead of building it like you would build like Google Maps and iPhone, we decided to build it like Apple Maps and made it native within our software. So what that means is that it's a better experience for the end user. And that was a really long answer. I'm sorry.
No, it's a completely fine. It was a really good answer because it kind of covered a bunch of questions that I had for you at one time. And, we recently integrated the Sonar track rates into Zoom, and you guys have really taken the going in through 6 different screens to try and book a load and really just made it a lot easier and streamlined it. And it sounds fascinating. What kind of end user benefits comes from this aside from the fact that everything's in one place, but like what kind of advantages do they have and what kind of benefit does this give to their workflow?
I believe that the 80% don't operate like the 20% that are on the top because of a lack of confidence. Okay. And it's not always that they can't do it, that they don't want to take that chance. So Sonar provides you confidence scores. That is beautiful, right? At the same time, you get capacity lane score. And when you put those two together, you find a hotspot. And when you have that hotspot, you can kind of, we have another tool that we lay on top of that. It's almost like a sharpener on top of a knife. And we call that universal touch. So by having those two interlaced with our universal touch, whenever we want to adjust the Sonar price internally per our secret sauce, or any customer wants to, they can just adjust universal touch without ever contacting Sonar. So yeah, Sonar is 1, Zuum is 2, but Zuum plus Sonar equals 32 because the law of synergy. And then essentially with that hotspot, you can really dominate and make more money. And one more point before I glance over it. One thing I don't do is like neg on other people's product. But I've noticed that a lot of the APIs that are out there, because as logistics companies, you're really reliant on the stability of your load boards, your pricing integrations, and whatnot. The APIs are unstable and unreliable. It's working one day, it's not. We haven't had that experience with like a better experience than anyone with Sonar. It's always up, it's always running, it's always on time, and it's always helping us.
Thank you very much. I like to think that Sonar is pretty amazing, but I am a little biased. So what does kind of this user interface look like on the Zoom platform? Like, what are people seeing when they go to book a load? And what does it look like?
So I can show you if you'd like to see.
Absolutely, I would love to see.
So I'm going to log into the Zoom platform. Keep in mind, like if it was another person, like let's say it's Holman Enterprises, they get the Zoom platform as if they were like a complete end-to-end digital brokerage. We're branded to them overnight. We do our branding within like a week, when some companies do it over like a year. So first things first, in our application, everything for us is about UI and ease of use. So within our store, Sonar's there, and you can easily integrate into it just with the login and an API key. Some of the people out there make it so difficult, like you have to get on a phone call, you have to pay more money, and Sonar is just easy to work with. Once it's in there, we interlace it everywhere. For example, let's say there's a shipment I'm trying to cover today. Uh, so number one, I'll go in here, and then I'll go to my, so we built a trucker sales force in here, basically, which we call suggested carriers, and has like their safety scores and service records. And over here, while this guy is buying and selling, we've embedded the Sonar data as if it's native to our technology. So regardless if he's going to his previous carriers down here or going to external load boards, he's going to have this data here available for him. More importantly, if you're a, let's say, for example, you're a salesperson, right? You would go to dynamic smart rate and you'd put a lane from Los Angeles. We're mode agnostic. And regardless of who you want out there, so we don't take sides, but what we found out is most people are touching down here, which is the track spots, and the confidence score I was talking about, and the capacity lane score. So that way, like, our team has become very reliant on these colors and these words. They know when to buy and they know when to sell. And if you can buy better, you can operate better. If you could sell better, you can operate better. And if you can buy and sell better, then you're going to make more margins. And that's what the name of the game is right now. But you could see that also, like, we'll show you other broker rates right now in the market. Like, we've really interlaced this tool really well. You could also change certain details as if like you wanted to add any accessorials, and all that pricing data would change. Also, like, it's really in depth. Like, pricing is very finicky. If you have a drop trailer for one day and it's dropping in the afternoon as opposed to the morning, it's a different price. If you add high value to it, it's a different price. What we did is we connected all those APIs with the tool that we call Universal Touch. So what we do, for example, let's say I go to your logistics company, right? And I give you a rate from LA to Dallas, because Zuum enables you with your own pricing algorithm as a TMS user. And let's say, for example, the price is X, right? What we do as our base rate is we plug in Sonar. Okay, so this is what we use for our base rate. We plug in Sonar, and then we give you this rate, and it's like $2,000, right? And you're like, that's not good because I have a secret sauce that I buy better from LA to Dallas. So we basically built API permutations onto the Sonar algorithm, so you can adjust it without ever contacting a developer with your own pricing team with permissions for everything, like same day, next day, Saturday, Sunday, short runs, long runs, heavy loads, backhauls, like medium loads. So, for example, let's say you find out that your pricing algorithm is $2,000, but the market's 24. With your pricing manager, you can come here and change it without ever emailing anybody on the technology team, based on every single like lever you can imagine. And then the cool part about Zuum is we let you build your own secret sauce. So if you come in here and you want to add other levers and not share that with anybody, we have a base stack and we can add new things. So Sonar plus Zuum plus customization equals your own differentiation. Because if everybody has the same tool in the market with no secret sauce, how are you different than your competitors? And then the last thing is, like, let's say we set up this algorithm in North America perfect for you, but then you're like, you know what? I buy better from certain regions to certain regions as the markets ebb and flow. So then you can draw sub regions and easily add sub permutations. Um, and and the cool part is, like, essentially, I could teach that to like a new employee that I hired within a week. And then you have a team that isn't reliant on technologists to always be behind the data, and now they're driving the data. It's like manifestation, right? Stop attaching your emotions to the past, instead guide your emotions to the future. Remember the future and drive with data, right? So if you know how you can set your schema and go to the market, you're leading the market, being market innovator.
I absolutely love that because, like you said, it's everyone has their thing and their own differentiator that makes them who they are, but not everyone's the same. So you shouldn't really expect a piece of software to, be the same for everybody.
And that's really that third bucket, like, what can we first, the most amazing part is that we can get to market quickly. Like, another company will take you there 2 years to just get to point A. We're in point A in a week, branded to your company, full stack. Now let's build upon that.
Yeah, it's one of that's those game changer where things are happening quickly. You don't have to wait 6 weeks to get the EDI calls to happen or the API calls to happen. You don't have to spend and waste all the time waiting for that connectivity. It's almost, in my mind, instantaneous.
Absolutely.
So I guess you pretty much touched every single thing that we were going to talk about today. If someone, what is your one piece of advice for someone that is looking to enhance their current offerings, or maybe, have a better pricing tool?
Here's the thing. In my opinion, collaboration and data wins at the end of the day. And I'll tell you why. I could take Sonar's pricing algorithm, JB Hunt 360, Uber Freight, DAT, anybody's pricing algorithm, and poke holes in it and say it's not time definite, it doesn't fit our business model. But when you team up the universal touch with Sonar, it becomes the best tool that's flexible to any model. When you sprinkle your own secret sauce through our customization on it, then you're like Peter Thiel moving 0 to 1. The other point is that the most important thing I would say is like, how much does it cost? How much can you show me how much value you can bring, and how fast can you launch it on a small beta that I can prove it out to my team? And if my team falls in love with it, then I'm going to be with you. And the reason I say go with Sonar is because they're easy to work with. The APIs are super reliable, and technology is at your company's core, where some of the other guys are a little bit tough to get on the phone or deal with or even integrate with, for that matter.
Oh, 100%. I think it's all about that communication between a partnership and being able to rely on them and truly think of it as a partnership. That being said, if anyone wants to reach out about Zuum, or if they have any other questions, where can they find you outside the show?
Yeah. So Mustafa, okay, Mustafa at Zuum, ZUUMAPP.com, or go to our website, ZoomApp.com. Anything you guys need, we can knock it out for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
Trap.